Have you ever thought to yourself, man, I wish I could play a hero like Chen, but my micro just isn't good enough? Well, worry no longer, because in this video I'm going to show you that you can in fact play Chen at a very high level while having thoroughly unimpressive micro. We're going to look at a game of Kuro playing Chen for Liquid, and although Liquid had a somewhat rocky start to TI, they did end up getting second. So if you can get second at TI playing this rather underwhelming Chen, at least in terms of its micro, and still have teams first phase banning Chen against you, then that shows that Chen is really not all about just having good micro. So a lot more to Chen, and you can start letting Chen even if your micro isn't that great. We're going to see Kuro just doing a lot of fairly basic things, as well as just making some basic mistakes, but they're still going to end up winning the game. So let's get into it. So we see here Kuro using a very unusual item build. He's going for a headdress and a fairy fire. This in fact takes up all your gold. So this means that Weeha in the middle here has gotten tangos from GH for their 4th position, and GH in fact has gotten 1 tango from their carry from Miracle. Don't try this at home. It's probably not gonna work out well in your pubs. Your position 4 and your carry are gonna cry if you would try this in a pub, unless you're doing like an organized stack. But I also don't even think that this is such a great build. What it's going to try to do is going to try to rush a mechanism with this, and it's not even going to work out all that well. So they're just doing some basic stuff here. There's nothing fancy going on here. It's just harassing people. There's no micro required yet, and of course it's not going to be any micro until you get the whole persuasion level 2. So now Kuro is up in the top lane because at bottom all the camps were blocked and wasn't really much he could do there anyway. Now he's at top. He wants to try and pull, but he sees the pull camp has been blocked. So he's finding level 2. He's going to try and find a creep now. There's only this little creep that's not very good. He's going to take one of these multiple golems. These are pretty good at level 1. And he's in fact going to take both of them. It's going to require him to wait for a bit here, 15 seconds. He's not really doing much in lane anyway so far. So he now has these 3 mud golems. He can throw out double boulders. And enemies see this and they sort of retreat a bit. But wait out these small golems to die. So I don't want to commit to fire in there. As these do a lot of damage, it's 125 magic damage as well as a mini stun. Now they're almost about to run out, so he's going to have to throw these boulders right now. Where you do this is just you use tab for these boulders. So far everything is pretty basic. Like you can definitely easily learn to do this typing stuff. It's not difficult. So now he's just going to try to find another creep possibly. And he could take this one. He doesn't though. He has another boulder toss here. So he's just like wandering around. He just wants to get down to the bottom room for the 5-minute rune fight. He's not even in time here. So far, Kuro just hasn't done very much in this game. Loses these golems, so that's fine. Gonna toss those boulders, and in fact, he converts one of the small creeps. So you can see he has converted this little setter banisher here. This is useful to dispel sticky napalm and kills the slow enemies, but it's not a very large range, so you have to be kind of close. He's now taking over this tomato, very strong creep in the early game. You could definitely have used a clap here, just speed up this farming. That's not to do it. And he loses the creep here. Again, a little bit of missed micro here. But it's not like a huge deal. A lot of people worry a lot about these kind of counters like Mirana or Crystal Maiden. You think, these heroes are going to counter Chen because they can kill his creeps easily. And yes, it's true, it's like a little bit of a counter, but it's not too bad, honestly. Because it just doesn't come up that often. And losing a single creep to a skill like that is not as much of a big deal as most people think. Sure, it's annoying, but it doesn't mean that you can't play Chen in a game like that. Chen in fact is a hero that, well, I mean, you can counter, but then you need like multiple picks to really make Chen useless, and then you've spent multiple picks countering position 5, and then you of course get to have a freer game. So don't worry too much about counters. Chen is a perfectly fine hero at the first pick. He's gonna take over this Wildwing Ripper creep, and like in here, look at this. He's not even focusing. You could just kill one of these Wildwings, and take less damage on this Wildwing Ripper. But it's just these little things that Kuro is not doing, and you know, he's still gonna have a good game on this Chen, at least reasonably good game. He's still gonna win the game with this. And like here, he's taking unnecessary damage from these creeps. You could have switched aggro to the Evolving Ripper. You're gonna see lots and lots of little mistakes from Kuro over the course of this game. He's gonna have to purge off Miracle here. 7 charges. That's not something you want to stay in lane with. And he's just kind of sort of dicking around here. He could easily cast a tornado here. But just not doing very much. So now he's coming into the middle, cuts into the fight there. Like TPing this doesn't really do much here. Slow this down a bit. Try to get it done. GH is gonna die here. He's also gonna die. He did cast a slow here. So that's like something that he contributed. And actually to get the kill, so that's a good exchange for Liquid. And now we don't really know how he quite cancelled that tornado. He could have just had the tornado sit like here and wait for that creeper to come in. Instead he wants to go down here, and now look at this, look at this. He just like lets this guy die. And the question is why? There's no reason for this. You can easily tank some with this creep, which has almost no mana anyway. It's not very important to keep this around, and you can easily get more of these. And so because of this, because he just let this very strong Wildwing creep die, he now only has 2 creeps when he could have 3. Another mistake here. And this sort of stuff just adds up. But even with all these mistakes, as I said, Kuro is still going to win this game. And now he's sort of in enemy territory, has to retreat here. I think big here, he tanks the arrow here with his small creep, that's good. It's actually some good micro out of Kuro. Not sure if it's intentional, but it definitely worked out well. We're just going to cast the spells here. Shockwave, the net, very basic stuff. And move stuff out of this napalm. Okay, so this was good. This is not anything very difficult. You just use these 2 skills. Just some basic Chen micro. And now you could raise those skeletons. The skeletons actually do a lot of damage and help you a lot in these kind of pushes. And instead, Kuro's just going to run into this awkwardly and then run back here. Still not raising skeletons. And you can definitely right-click this tower. He's taking too much damage on this set automata though. He's failed to pass on aggro. And this gets very low here, it gets to 150 HP, it could easily die to a single nuke. And it's okay to take a little bit of damage with this because it regens a lot. Because of this aura and its own aura. But you don't want to tank that much damage. You could easily take some damage with this, or just have some of the neutral creeps tank it. And here again, this is a perfectly strong creep here. Hill Troll Priest, one of the strong creeps in the game. And he just walks past it. You could take one of these creeps, also doesn't do it. He has an extra creep slot that he's just not using. Like, it's not like he's stacking someone with another creep or something, no, it's just not getting this extra creep. This is just a mistake, straight up. So now Kuro has a pretty good army here, and they're gonna attempt to do Roshan here. And he just sort of walks around awkwardly with his creeps and just doesn't quite know if he wants to commit them. And he's taking way too much damage in the set of tormentor. Now he lets him stand the outside of attack range from Roshan, but still in clap range, so it's still gonna get clapped. And these groups are not doing anything. We already have 3 units here, just attack with those. And have the set of tormentor stand up here to protect it. Now he walks up with this group, that's good. To scouting and gets the storm buff here, that's very valuable. Now most of the creeps have died, not really doing much. So yeah, this could have gone a lot better because, in fact, you can see it was actually TNC that killed the Aegis, and that's very important in this stage of the game. The goal is probably even more important than the Aegis. This fight did not actually go well for Liquid, and part of it, of course, is because of Kuro's mismanagement there. They could have killed Roshan a bit quicker if he had actually attacked with those 2 extra creeps.
Dire's bottom tower has been denied.
And this is sort of small things, small optimization stuff with Chen, but that can definitely matter. So now it's 60 minutes. Kuro still hasn't enough boots. He wanted to get this mech very quickly, but now he's decided, okay, I actually need boots. So kind of awkward. So a fight develops here. And what's he going to do? He's just going to run in with his creeps. And gets a stomp off. And that's it. That's basically all he does with his creeps. Didn't even get the shockwave off. And he's just going to walk in here randomly and almost die. And he's actually going to convert the skeleton. It's kind of funny. This is actually not that bad of a creep. And by the way, in this game here, Kuro leaves Holy Persuasion in 3 for a long time. The reason he does this is because pros value Divine Favor very highly. If you're in this organized 5-stack and you know how to play around Divine Favor, then it's going to be very strong, but your pubs definitely always max this first. And even among the pros, they usually max Persuasion first. But it seems like Liquid is just really good at playing around this. Again, here it's just taking unnecessary amount of damage on this wolf. This is your most valuable creep, don't just let it get that low. And just again sends it in and again tanks a lot of damage with this. And I think we actually did one attack on that wolf. That's kind of naughty. So yes, this creep now. So this team he has now is extremely strong. These are the best 2 creeps, the wolf and the ogre. Best 2 creeps in mid game, and as well as in late game. But the problem is he's just not using this frost mage. You could easily have given Miracle a frost armor there. It's going to make him take less damage from creeps. I mean, he's not taking damage really anyway. But if he gets skanked, for example, then it's definitely going to help. Also, if there's ancients, that's definitely going to help. Because this is a really strong spell. It's 8 armor, 45-second duration, and it also slows melee attackers by 30% in terms of movement speed and 20% in terms of attack speed. So this is an extremely strong ability, and he's just not using it. And we're going to see a lot of this Frost Mage just not doing anything in this game. And what Kuro is doing is just basically like moving around with, I think his grips are on follow right now. He's just moving his hero. This is like the most basic micro you can do. Just every time everything is just in one control group and moving somewhere. What you could easily do is you could take this creep and this creep, these 2 creeps, and have them push out a side lane. Like push out like here, or like here if MC weren't there right now. Because these creeps actually do a lot of damage. Like look at this. This is a lot of damage. A lot of damage. And you have the skeletons, you have the shock waves. These can easily push out waves, and these are not very valuable in the fight, to be honest. Like the root is nice and so on, but it's just it doesn't have very much range. It's kind of difficult to get it off, and at this stage of the game, this nuke is no longer as powerful. They're gonna find some enemies here, Wraith King being focused on, and Kuro is just like walking in with everything here, and that's fine. They are in an advantageous situation. They have the numbers here. But just generally, at this stage of the game, if it's anything like an even file, you don't just walk in with your creeps. You have your creeps sit back, because otherwise they're just going to die. And especially you're going to have to use this fucking Frost Mage. Just please freaking cast this spell. You're sitting at full mana. Finally, thank you, Kuro. And I'm just going to forget about it again. Actually, okay, that was actually fine. It's just 1 second downtime. That's okay. But really, Miracle needs one of these frost armors. And as you can see, this creep is just never really dipping below like a 300 mana point. He's just not using these creeps to his full potential. And now he does the Ancient. That's a correct decision. That's fine. They can do that. But what you should do is separate your creeps a bit out, because this has splash damage. Just taking all the splash damage and all his creeps, you can take a lot less splash damage than that. And you can also use your frost ammo on your creeps. It's very useful. So right now Kuro is fairly poor, but it's sort of normal for position 5. And like that's pretty much the reason why I generally wouldn't want to go for this sort of mech rush on a position 5 Chen. Because unless you're having an exceptionally good game, you're just not going to get this mech very quickly. And I think it's more useful to just have something like a medallion first, so you can actually contribute and not have to run around with this headdress for like 25 minutes before you actually do something with it. They're going to do a smoke here. Roshan is up. And of course in this team they do Roshan really quickly with Troll and TA, as well as this minus armor and this bonus damage aura and so on. But Kuro is waiting here, and this time Kuro actually smartly sitting outside of the Roche pit with his creeps. This is what you want to do. The fight develops, and he's going to run in with his creeps. Let's see where the creeps get done. One shockwave, and the creeps are almost dead. This has also been used. Kuro also just sort of stupidly running in here. Almost going to die. And these creeps are just going to die. What you want to do is not commit with the creeps. Just have them nearby so they can still provide the auras, but don't just like let them on in, because these creeps did very little in this fight. So right now Kuro is going to pick up a Glimmer Cape, and to be honest, I don't really like that item too much here. The reason being is that this costs mana, 90 mana, this costs mana, 225, and he has no mana items. I mean, just casting all your spells at once, that's already what is 660 mana. 660 mana plus this together, it's like his entire mana pool is just using everything once. That's a problem. So I would have much preferred if he had gone into like a mana boot or a medallion, or just both. He had the money for that. And like having a medallion is really valuable. They have a medallion here on Titan, but he's almost got the Solar Crest, and having medallion plus Solar Crest is very important. It's very, very valuable. He takes over this Cobalt Foreman, quite a useful creep. You're never excited to have this, but it's a 12% movement speed, which is quite strong for a single creep slot. And this is sort of what late game Chen is all about. You get those aura creeps. In fact, you don't get this creep. This creep is bad in late game. Rather, you take the smaller sensors and get these aura creeps, these magic aura creeps. You get this one. You can take this one as well if there's something important to purge off. And you take the wolves. You take the ogre frost mages. Kuro actually provides a lot of right click damage here. You can see all these creeps do a lot of damage. And just by the by, he's not taking the 20 persuasion damage on level 15. This is because he's playing in a pro team. They know how to play around Divine Favor. In your pubs, especially your solo queue, people are not going to know how to play around Divine Favor, and you're probably not going to use it on cooldown. And the 60-second cooldown is going to be more than enough. You'd rather have this extra damage at level 15. But in these pro games, Divine Favor is very strong, obviously. And that's also why they can have merciful pushing down this bottom lane, because they know he can get recalled. You just have to be careful, of course, because you can't take damage in 6 seconds. And very important, he buys lots of sentry wards. Sentries are OP right now. They're so cheap. You get so much for dewarding. And they're gonna find AO here, and almost done. Again, Kuro just sends in all his creeps. Doesn't really do much with them. You can just send in this one to net and keep the other ones back, because you're not doing anything. This one can sit back a little bit, so provide this aura to the team and cast a tornado. And sure, this does more right click damage than you would do with a tornado, but if you set it in, it's just going to die from all the magic damage, all the AoE damage from Kunkka and so on. And now he's actually doing it correct. Now he's sitting back with his creeps and not just committing them right away. And now that most of the AoE stuff is out, now you can send in those creeps. And there you go. This is what you do in late game team fights. as these hitting the buildings because they do a lot of building damage, and that is the game. So, as you can see, I was quite harsh on Kuro. He did a lot of mistakes in this game. His micro was thoroughly unimpressive, but they still won the game, and he still did a lot. I mean, he never died in this entire game. He's 1-0-18, which is really good stats in position 5. And he did his job, even though he made lots and lots of little mistakes, lots of efficiency plays that could be improved. He still did his job and contributed to his team winning the game. As you see, he's actually even gotten 7% on this MVP vote here. And like his farm was sort of okay for position 5, that's sort of normal. Chen, you can definitely farm a bit more with Chen. You can do a bit more split pushing and a bit more sending your creeps to jungle. You don't necessarily have to be there because your creeps get the bonus damage whether you're near them or not. So Chen is here where you can do some fairly low risk split pushing, and that can also contribute to your gold. But Kuro didn't do that. He just kept all of his group together in one control group and always had the nearest hero. Didn't do any sort of multitasking. And as you can see, it's good enough to play this hero at TI. And obviously you want to try to learn this multitasking stuff and so on, but you don't have to learn the stuff when you're starting out with Chen. You can just start doing basic stuff like Kuro did here and get second at TI. Just pick Chen. Terms and conditions apply. Picking Chen does not guarantee a second place at TI. Alright, so this is my video showing you that you don't need great micro to succeed with Chen. And in the meantime, may Obelis protect you. Goodbye.